Fire, fire, fire.
All right, let's do it. Newest Marvel Rivals controversies insane. Oh my gosh, sexist game. Marvel Rivals sexist? Don't they have like equality for both men and women? Men have their their freaking washboard abs, and the women have massive asses and titties.
Just a few days
I
ago,
don't know about
I
that
released
one.
a video talking about a Marvel Rivals controversy where the couch activists on Twitter and Reddit expressed their anger at Black Cat being added to Marvel Rivals,
Oh no.
saying that she's too attractive, she's too well endowed.
You know, I find it so dumb to like shit on girls being too hot, period. But the fact that it's a imaginary character and she's not real makes this extra sad. She's actually jealous of a hot woman in a video game.
Despite the fact that the devs clearly made her lore accurate to her comics, it's literally no different than comic Black Cat. That's a whole separate video. If you missed that one and want that full context, I'll link
It's
it in
a
the
cool
description for
cinematic.
you. But here we are now, a mere like 3 days later, and we have another pathetic Rivals controversy from the same
Pathetic.
sort of crowd that brought you the last one. Yes, the online virtue signalers have struck again. As
Oh
now we
boy,
have this
Twitter.
streamer Jules going somewhat viral in Rivals Twitter for making a take that's just actually absurd.
The bi Shakira. If you're bi, don't you like ladies too? Shouldn't you be happy that there's a hot character?
Actually
So
delusional.
you can goon to
Here's
it?
the context. First of all, this person, Skyvora, says, there's way too much toxicity in Rivals, and especially towards the support players. It's really, really weird how the community sees and treats support players, and this is only getting worse. For those that don't play Rivals, support, also known as strategist in-game, is essentially the healer role, and there's consistently been lots of criticism that strategists get in-game from the player base. For example, for most of Marvel Rivals' lifespan so far, strategists have had really overpowered ults that are easy to charge up, and they just drag the games out,
Yeah.
especially in triple support metas, but
Yeah.
not exclusively to them. Certain strategist
Yeah,
characters
Overwatch
also
has the
have
same problem, to
extremely
be
low
honest.
skill floors, which result in players with bad mechanics just padding numbers. And some would argue that many of the top strategists in game
Good
have actually
positioning.
gotten carried by their duelist and vanguard teammates.
Yeah,
the
their
former
duo
being the
Q
DPS role
kitten.
and the latter being the tank role. Now,
Yep.
look, this is not the case for all strategists. There are strategist players out there that have great mechanics, great game sense, great skill, to put it simply. This is just a brief generalization to get people in the loop if they're not familiar with Rivals as much as some of you might be. And so with all that context, that takes us to this response. The one that I mentioned is going somewhat viral now in Rivals Twitter from this streamer Jules. And Jules says in response to Skavora, whose tweet we read a moment ago, supports are seen as feminine, so there is an inherent hatred towards them.
That's not why, but okay.
People demand attention from them because they see the role as submissive.
What?
So when they defend themselves from a traditionally masculine role, they lose their sense of control and get mad. In this essay, oh gosh, you made an
Oh
essay
my
about
god.
this? Okay, thankfully the essay part's a joke. You
Ew.
actually had me for a second there. Well played on that. But unfortunately, the rest of the post is not a joke. As a matter of fact, Jules is so serious about that.
Locked replies too. It's very typical.
About this, that when people began to criticize and call her out, she actually
Yeah.
locked the responses
No, you can't
entirely, as you can see
criticize
right here.
me.
She also went on to advertise her Twitch stream. You can see the bio reading, "Hi, I'm Jules. She, her, a queer Colombian / Salvadoran who balances work and play." Now look, sure, you can argue that supports, that healers are seen as a more feminine role in games. But that in of itself
The best PvP healers I ever had in World of Warcraft were men.
is not
I don't think it's inherently feminine, sorry.
problem. That's not misogyny. That's not offensive. If you're offended by that, that's a you problem. This part's also just a really
I don't
bad
think it's
take,
inherently
saying
feminine.
that people demand attention from strategists because they see the role as submissive. That is actually so horrible of a point. I can't believe she even said that. No, the reason people want attention from their healer is because they need healing. What are you talking about here? Oh, they just want attention from us because it's submissive. No, they need healing. They're dying.
I need healing. The Genji meme is I need healing, bro.
They need your attention because
Yes,
they need
bro.
heals. Rival
Come on,
streamer
play the
Necros
game.
would actually respond to this post as well. Let's take a look at what Necros has to say. If you're not familiar with Necros, he is one of the most watched Rivals streamers, and he says in response to Jules, people drawing comparisons like this to sexism/politics are genuinely insane. The characters are just annoying to deal with and have access to very easy tools to deal with problems in their games like dive, but they refuse to get good at using them. The devs then have to compensate for their lack of skill through buffs.
Yeah, and there's a lack of healers, so they want to buff it so that it's easier to play. That's like the logical thing to do.
Further reducing their skill floor.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Favored matchups against characters that are supposed to counter them lol.
Skill issue?
This is
No,
why
but
people
that's
have a, quote, inherent
if you
weak-
don't want your game to die and you have healers and tanks and it's not the most played role, which everybody wants to DPS, right? It's the same thing in every game that has roles.
towards the support
They have
role,
to do
it's
something
quite
about
literally
it.
because they whine and get what they want. It has nothing to do with frickin' sexism. That is an insane line of thinking. Yeah, that Jules person is probably a top poster over on the Rivals Queens subreddit. Oh great, now Jules is all
There's a Rivals Queen subreddit.
mad at Necros.
What
Let's
is
take a look
that?
at her response. You can't deny
To,
that
like, glaze each
strategists
other?
and supports in general across games are treated poorly by other roles. I gave my perspective on it as a social scientist. Oh gosh, that doesn't help
What?
your argument at all. Hey, as a social scientist, I'm saying this, so I must be right. Like, no, it's not how this works. As a matter of fact, you could argue it's a logical fallacy. And if you didn't agree, you didn't have to respond. Makes a public
A
whining
strat
statement.
main. Social
criticism, lots
scientist.
reply-
This sounds like a Reddit post. Maybe she really does visit Reddit. I'm a social scientist.
Gets quote tweeted, excuse me, and is now like, you didn't have to say anything. I'm a victim. Blah blah blah. If
I
you
made my
or others
dumbass
are
opinion
triggered by this,
public.
that's a red flag, bro. People responding to your bad take doesn't mean
I
you're-
hate that logic too. Hold on, I have the perfect meme for this. Yeah, I have the perfect meme for this. I saved it. I hate it when people use the word triggered. I triggered so many people into responding. Buddy, they're just responding to you. Doesn't mean anything.
triggered. That's just called discourse. That's called being an adult.
Go to Blue Sky if you don't want to quote unquote trigger people.
Having a conversation. You're the one that's like locking down responses and getting all offended at people pointing out facts. You know what? Maybe we needed Concord after all. Maybe Concord should have stayed around. People like Jules should go over to Concord.
They still
that game
wouldn't
was
go.
made for them. That game was made for people like Jules. At the very least, perhaps we can meet in
She's
the
in
middle.
college
Jules,
debt with a degree that
I
goes
kindly
nowhere.
request that you quit Rivals.
You don't need a social science degree to like fucking do experiments on the internet, bro. Yeah, you really don't need one.
And go play Overwatch. They'd love to have you over there. Over on the Rivals subreddit, Jules' post would also get discussed 2 hours ago. This hitting the front page, already with 222 upvotes, titled, "People hate on duelist mains all the time, but when supports get hate, it's misogyny." A top response reading, "That's like saying that supports were racist towards Black Panther. I mean, some were because it's a black character in an online game, but it's a blanket generalization. I get that they want to play their favorite characters, but don't water down real issues because you can't play a main healer." I think the point that person is making is that Black Panther, being a notorious dive character that recently got buffed, is perhaps getting banned by support players nowadays, and that obviously that
Yeah,
doesn't make
maybe because it's a good character. What is this? What? Why are we putting like politics and social like agendas in fucking video games? What if I'm playing a character and Lucian is a counter to that character in League of Legends? If I ban Lucian, I'm racist?
them racist. So
What?
conversely, no strategist player should turn around and act like it's misogyny.
I
if
don't
their
play
favorite
Marvel, but I
strategist
feel like
character
that's
gets
the same
banned during
thing,
ban
no?
phase, which now is also increased from 2 to 3, and we're seeing a lot of support bans in Season 7 so far, which is a whole separate issue, but also somewhat related to everything we've been discussing so far
You'll never understand my pain. Sorry.
in this video. But I don't know if I want to go explain all of that for people that are not playing Rivals. It might be a bit too much to unpack here at the end. On that note, the final thing we'll take a look at is this post that's also going viral in Rival circles right now, talking about a new Marvel Rival support strike, because yeah, that was a thing before. Just know that context. So this guy says, Marvel Rival support strike starts today. We will not waver. The support Discord will be under this post. You are not alone. Them sweaty incel DPS players will feel the absence of us. For safety reasons, DM me for the Discord link. We shall not be silenced. And then he says,
my God.
The support community has heard your cries, and we are very sorry that we used an
They used an AI picture and everybody fucking shit on them. It's so fucking stupid.
AI-generated photo on this app, referring to this one.
Oh,
Who says,
my
we're sorry we used
Lord.
that photo on this app that is ran by AI and is funding genocide. Which by using the app, you're basically cool
Guys,
with
I'm
using AI and Elon
sorry.
Musk as well. But here's
Moving the goalposts.
the new non-AI banner. This is obvious bait. This is obvious bait, but a lot of people are falling for this. It got 1.8 million
bait?
impressions.
Wait, that's
There's
so
many
strong.
people quote tweeting this and responding. Now, to be fair, it was much less
It's
obvious bait
bait.
when it was just the first and second post. And so, like, the second one's the one that really got a lot of replies and bait a lot of people. But
That's
now that he made this
crazy.
third one as well, I really hope no one's falling for this. This is like very clear bait. Unfortunately, there are people responding to the third
But
one,
the funniest thing is that I can see this happening.
and they're actually not realizing it's bait, which is kind of crazy. Like, this one, for example, is calling that dude dumb, but it's like, bro, that's bait. Come on. How do you not notice that's bait?
People are
But yeah,
easily
that's the
baited.
latest.
I was
I'll
baited.
leave this one here. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next
Marvel
time.
Rivals drama. Mamma mia. Oh my lord, man. Absolutely destroyed. I don't know. I think that Twitter is such a great place, man. Why am I getting recommended? Iran war, 54 views. Intelligence community, America. What is this fucking recommendation? Bro! I got the same fucking thing. Dude, don't recommend me this channel. Fucking hell, man. Click it? No, I'm not gonna click that shit. I got it too. I was so confused. Anyway, fucking, like I said, Twitter's a great place for discourse. I'm glad people are calling out these dipshits. You get what you friggin' deserve!
Oh yeah.